And then it sort of caught up with me, and I started remembering stuff, and I drink, and then that quell it for a while, and then I'd have to drink more to stop it, and I'd have to take every fucking drug that wasn't nailed down, and eventually nothing stopped it. And really, it wasn't, I'm not that brave, it wasn't sort of, I decided I'm going to conquer this. I took this on and dealt with this stuff because I had to. The problem with doing it like that is it could have cost me my life, and it could have destroyed my family along the way. So I'm thankful that, that I got the chance to do it. A lot of people don't.
Speaking of your family, Mark, there was no way you were going to make this without Jane, without Jimmy's beautiful wife, Jane, who is here tonight. Let's have a round of applause for Jane. Start how you wanted to be how you wanted Jane to be involved, or was it kind of organic?
Well, Jane had to be involved, and I think one of the things that gives Jimmy's story another layer from the book and the stage show is the involvement of Jane on camera, as well as David, and we were again surprised by what she had to say and when she had to say it, and I really think it's a great dimension. I don't think there's anybody else who knows him better than she does, and she's a wonderful, generous person and so perceptive, but also so many surprises when we were filming that it took all that time to find out until you admitted, all these things. Even in the book, she didn't know a lot of stuff. That was surprising to we're doing it, but she was a great thing, great character. With this documentary, one thing led to another, and then all of a sudden you have this.
I think for me, one of the hardest bits in the whole movie was just watching Jane's face when she talks. It's just really, it cracks me up every time I fall apart. I mean, in the nicest possible way. I do. I fall apart.
We had to have some beauty on screen.
She has been such an integral part of building that family, that strength of family, that solid family that you didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Jane came from a good family. Jane's got a great family, and they're really, the difference between sort of Jane's family, or one of many differences between Jane's family and my family was, like, when Jane's family have arguments and fights, which is normal in families, they sort of brush it off and talk. When my family would do it, somebody would die. It would be like a feud, Scottish thing. We wouldn't speak for years, and a lot of that was to do with the darkness of all the stuff that we've been through. So Jane, until Jane became aware of the stuff, she couldn't work out why I wouldn't just be like, get over it, You've had a fight, get over it. And I go, no, I'm not talking to anybody, ever. But being welcomed into Jane, when I married Jane, I joined a great family, and being welcomed into that family was probably as important to me as meeting Jane. It was, because every single member of the family sort of were, sometimes they've seen better in me than I've seen in myself. Sometimes I've seen better in me than Jane's seen in me. And so they've accepted me. They've helped me stumble through all this. They've tried to give me guidance. And when I needed a shoulder to cry on, they were always there. But they were also ones that say, pull your head in. They're straight up like that. And that's what families do. They give support, but they don't. My family sort of just keep telling each other how much we love each other because we're so scared that we're gonna have to go through stuff again. Jane's family tell it like it is. So I learned really about real family life and about real love, from Jane and the family. So you couldn't do this. I wouldn't be here without it.
Well, the other essential ingredient, of course, Mark, when you're putting this together, was going to be music. You had this stage show to work with, and I think you only recorded the two.
One in Glasgow and the State Theatre.
See, that's incredible to get such perfection from just two shows.
Everything he does is perfect.
But Mark and I, when we first talked about doing this, because one of the things, obviously, I didn't want this to be, like we said, recreated and sort of and dramatized and have exaggerate the wrong things. I wanted to be honest and I wanted to be straight up. Part of what we did is about the music. A lot of the music for my life has sometimes been the result of the tension, and the music has sort of been the explosion at the end, and sometimes it's eased the tension. And that's what happened in the stage show. And I really wanted to sort of, not to exaggerate that, but to make that really clear. And one of the things we spoke about was about recreating some of those songs on the soundstage. Some of those beautiful big wide shots where you'll notice where I've got the State Theatre, where we've got a smaller band with my son and Ben and Mahalia. And then suddenly we're up on an open soundstage. We still did those songs all live, but we just took the concept and expanded it. Put some singers in for the gospel stuff. Added a guitar player, Danny, my guitar player. So the music became a really integral part of the story. Those songs weren't picked because they were sort of pop songs. They were there because they were parts of the tension and parts of the release. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. I love that song anyway. But if you'd have told me that would be in my show, I would have said you were crazy. But because of this whole story of how I related to that, the music was so important. And Mark said, "Oh yeah, I know how to do this," and we left it in Mark's hands to do it. And I think those shots of the live soundstage are just some of the best live band shots that I've ever had.
Smooth talking about.
And then there was one shot, one song that I had to push, to do, which was the one with the ACO, the chamber orchestra, and I think that singing that song, which was so emotional for me anyway, to sing it with Richard Tognetti and the Australian Chamber Orchestra is probably one of the best things I've ever done musically. And once again, it was captured live by Mark, so it was really, really good play.
Bushy was absolutely 100% right. You have to show us, the original writer was Randy Newman. He saw that and said it was one of the best performances of his song he's ever seen.
Oh, that's good.
Wow. The most nominated for an Oscar composer of
Big
all
part.
time.
He's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah. You mentioned, of course, that the guys in Cold Chisel fast became family for you as well. And we see Don Walker and we see Ian Moss in the film. How much did they know of what you'd gone through? Were they shocked by a lot of this too?
Well, I think they were shocked by it, but I think it sort of made sense. A lot of people sort of, when all this started coming out, they went, I know, I can see why it's like that, and that makes sense now. But I think they didn't, it sort of helped them understand me more. But, I don't think at the time they realized, why, because I certainly didn't realize, so I don't know how they could have, unless they knew something I didn't. But I think it's been, as my, when I left home, they were my family, and we were a dysfunctional family, and I think it's brought that part of my family a lot closer and a lot more together, and I really, to have them involved in this was, I really appreciated it because they were such an integral part of my life, and Don was one of my great influences, one of my great. I've had sort of shining lights in my life, through my life. Reg Barnes, Don Walker was one of them. Jane was one of them. So I was so pleased it was part of the film.
Yeah, it is a very special part of the film, and you were clear about how you wanted that to work in, Mark?
Yeah, we're great fans of the same sort of great ones from documentaries way back to The Last Waltz and No Direction Home and Giving the Material World, Amy Senna. No narration, as we said, no artifice. And I just thought in the wonderful DP Henry Pearson, we just said, let's put him and Jimmy and the band in an ethereal place, time and space, not anywhere, no audience, just somewhere in his own head, I suppose, read something into it, somewhere outside of what you normally expect. And then they come out with beautifully, sensationally performed music. Kevin Shirley did a lot of the producing with Jimmy, and it was, I watch it, I love it. I've seen it hundreds of times, and then that's a real credit. We wanted to make that the spine of the film, and it's really, I think it's really effective.
And the songs are really important. I think that, I don't want to be shameless and plug it, but for you guys who didn't get the record, you can get it for $10 outside. And I'm telling you this because all the money is going to drug relief. So, if you want to go
But it is a magnificent soundtrack, and all of the money going to help the farmers through the drought. Now we're going to open up a couple of questions in the audience, so if you've got a really good question and you're ready to, there's no pressure.
I'm going to warn you, I'm deaf.
We've got a couple of roving microphones, so if you want to head down this way, we have a gentleman here in the second row. I heard he's, I'll tell you what that one was in this.
Thanks. She's my interpreter.
G'day Jim, fantastic effort. I just want to, first of all, briefly, I noticed you had a little credit for Snoop Dogg and Oliver Twist at the end. Firstly, did you explain that? But what I really wanted to ask you about was, I think the best single vocal performance I've ever seen you give was actually at the Great Synagogue in Sydney, when you sang with Rob Wolf as your keyboard player at the time for the celebration they had of My Yiddish Mama, the old Al Jolson song. And
From then on, every time I went through Rosemary, I got everything for nothing.
Yeah.
So the Snoop Dogg
Snoop Dogg and Oliver are my schnozzers.
Yeah, but I just wanted to finish off that. I just wanted to, I could understand all the pain, but the duality, the love and passion, but there was another edge there that I heard in your singing of that song and your attitude towards your mother. It totally explained to me, what came through in that performance, and it was just mind-blowing. So and also, I think you found out you had a bit of Jewish lineage.
No, but mother, the rabbi tried to make me Jewish. The rabbi said to me, he said, so tell me about your mum. And I said, she gave me a Sarah David once. He said, ask her why she did it. So I said, no, my buddy going to sing, so I had to ring my mum. And he said, I said, my mum said, it was my grandmother's. And he said, what was her name? And that was a Jewish name. She goes, you're Jewish. But since then I've actually had lineage checked, and apparently I'm not. So, but singing in the synagogue for Mendel Castle, the rabbi, it was an incredible thing, because what I liked about it was about joining faiths. It wasn't about being Jewish, it wasn't about being Muslim, it wasn't about being Protestant. It was about bringing them all together. And and I sang that song really. It was hard not to cry when everybody in the room was crying. And I guess at that time I didn't realize how much I was going to be affected by my own mother. I'd managed to stay angry and protective about that. But there were times where it broke down, and that was probably one of them. Snoop Dogg and Oliver are my two schnozzers. Snoop Dogg was a little black schnauzer, and Oliver was when they delivered Snoop Dogg to me, they had a basket full of dogs, and they said they've all got homes except this guy, and nobody wants him. So that's Oliver Twist. And so I took them, and they're my best mates. They hang around with me all the time. And they sat there and went through the pain of writing a book, and they've heard me sing and cry in my drink and all that sort of stuff.
And they needed a credit.
They needed a credit.
Have we got another question from the audience? We've got a couple of a lot of ladies down the front here. Come on down. Your hand was up very quickly.
Were you ever scared of growing up and being like your dad?
Constantly, and I almost to the point of making it happen. I was terrified that I would be a bad father, or be not present in my family's lives. And for a long time, that fear and running away from my past, drove me to the point where I wasn't present in my kid's life. I wasn't present enough because I was so lost and caught up in my own stuff. So, and believe me, I get angry and I go through mixed emotions with my parents. But they did the best of what they could, and they were my dad was a good bloke. He just had it just fell apart, and I did that for a while. But one thing that I know that I think my parents would be proud of the fact that I've got there and pulled myself back from the brink of it, and I hope I'm like the good parts of my father.
Hi Jimmy. Really enjoying listening to your stories and sort of empathising and so on. You got over to New York to see Bruce Springsteen on Broadway. How did that hit you, seeing as you've both kind of gone through the memoir thing?
Well, Bruce's memoir is a lot different to mine, but there's obvious similarities. One of the things I noticed with Bruce was that it got really, really touching and really, intense when he spoke about his family and about his mum, about his mum dancing, about his father being lost in the distance. And I think Bruce is an amazing writer. I don't think there's any sort of comparisons. But one thing I will say, I sat there and I watched Bruce singing Tougher Than the Rest with his wife, and I got really choked up because it's one of my favourite songs in the world. And after the show, I went at the back to see Bruce and say hello. And his wife came up and I said, "Oh, my name's Jimmy Barnes." And she said, "I know who you are. You're Flame Trees." So apparently she really loves Flame Trees. It's one of the top 2 songs. Thank you, Bruce. It's a beautiful show. I mean, anybody who wants to go and see it, it's fantastic. He's such a great storyteller and such a great songwriter.